Welcome to the Fantasy Throwdown Podcast, bringing you the latest updates from the world of sports, gambling, and pop culture. Because you can't have a show without hot takes or a Tiger King meme these days. Know what I'm saying? Now, with over 200 episodes and ready to get after it again, here's your host, Dwayne Callender.
All right, guys, let's get into it. We've got Showdown coming up. This afternoon slate is basically polishing off what was a rough day. And the thing was, early only didn't go so bad, but the basic strategy behind it, a lot of it was Kyler Murray putting up points, and that just did not happen. So Josh Allen had an okay day, which, you know, kind of sums up a lot of Josh Allen's year, even though the Bills did pull away from Carolina and Arizona inexplicably losing to the Lions in a game where, yes, you lost your starting center, but the Cardinals just looked off the entire game. They did not look ready for Monday night, and something's up with, again, I don't know what it is with AJ Green on this roster, but he's just not on the same page with the rest of the team. It's just not a good look. So the Cardinals dropped the game they could not lose and find themselves in a very real possibility of not actually getting any type of bye for the playoffs, because, you know, they were in the driver's seat to get a bye. There's only one bye this year if you get the number 1 seed. 2 seed doesn't get anything. And they've lost 2 in a row, and I'm not entirely sold that they're going to win out to get, even if they win out, I don't think that's enough to get there at this point. So, just really inexplicable loss. But without much further ado, let's talk about this showdown matchup between the Buccaneers and the Saints. You know, I talked about this before, and, you know, the Saints really should get crushed here. There really isn't much of an excuse to say that, you know, we're going to get a really competitive game here. I just kind of look at this slate as a case where, you know, we've got a couple of teams that could. I mean, theoretically, could we say that the Saints have a shot? Yeah. We could say the Saints have a shot. I mean, the Lions freaking won a game today. I mean, what else you want to say? But the strengths of the Bucs are good run defense, weak against the pass. What are the Saints good at? Good with the run, terrible passing because Taysom cannot throw a ball. So, you know, you're hoping for a one-shot deal where Taysom can get somebody over the top and do some damage that way. So you're looking at Traquan Smith at 5,800 on the Saints side. The problem is, pricing-wise, when I kind of started doing a breakdown for this, you're going to, like, Kamara's not obscenely priced. You know, if you look at the pricing, Kamara's not obscenely priced. He's 11,400. Brady is more expensive than Kamara. And realistically, Kamara can still outscore Tom Brady, and it's not that crazy. I know Tom Brady could throw for a couple of TDs and throw for yard. Like, I'm not saying you have to fade Tom Brady. What I am saying is we got to get creative here with cheap pieces to make it work. Because realistically, the only way to fit all these pieces in is we got to go bottom of the barrel. So, in terms of lineup construction, this is key here, folks. We have to kind of look at the cheapest guys available that will likely be playing. And there are 3 guys. One, and this is number 1. I'm basically having him in basically every lineup. It's Adam Troutman for the Saints at tight end. He was the number 1 tight end coming into the season. Got hurt. Just got activated off of IR. Expected to play tonight. And Taysom, knowing that he can't throw, they're going to go a lot. We're probably going to likely see a lot of double tight end looks with Nick Van Nett and Adam Troutman. Troutman's $3,200 less. I'm still gonna have a net in my player pool, but Troutman's $200, and you can get passes on the cheap. Uh, uh, just a point per reception on DraftKings. I think Troutman is a must play in this situation here because they're going to be down in a couple of places. I don't see where we don't play Troutman here. Unless somehow Troutman gets ruled out, I'm playing Troutman over Juwan Johnson. I'm playing him over Vanette. Just got to save the money. So, without much further ado, we're going to get into the number 2 piece. Number 2 piece is Tyler Johnson on the Buccaneers. He's going to be the third string wide receiver because Brashad Perriman is out due to COVID protocols. Tyler Johnson is $1,600 on DraftKings, $6,500 on FanDuel. The build on FanDuel is a little bit different, but I'm going to concentrate on DraftKings tonight. The prize pools are bigger on DraftKings anyway, so just focusing on DraftKings primarily tonight. But Tyler Johnson, $1,600. I think if you play 2 out of 3 between and the third guy is going to be Scottie Miller, who's the 4th string wide receiver and the speed guy, taking deep shots. They're going to fill the role that Perriman had. Perriman was running short intermediary routes, and he was taking some of the deep shots. Now Miller's back. He's $200. If you play 2 out of 3 in most of your lineups with Tyler Johnson, Scottie Miller, and Troutman, then you can fit in your main pieces from both sides of this game. Because that's the problem. It's a salary issue, but you fix the salary issue if you play these cheaper guys to make the roster construction work. I think you can do a Taysom Hill build because he's going to scramble and he's going to take away scoring from Kamara in all likelihood if they get in the red zone. Because he's going to do the carries as opposed to Kamara and scramble. And Tampa has struggled against scrambling QBs. So Taysom and the captain, to me, makes sense because Taysom is $10,400. He's cheaper than Kamara by $1,000. I think Taysom and the captain makes more sense than Kamara. I know you're still going to get cheap dump offs to Kamara, but I think you can make it work with Taysom and Kamara, and you start playing these cheapies. But there's actually one more guy, so there technically is a 4th guy, but we don't know if he's playing yet, and that's going to be Lil Jordan Humphrey. Yes, that is a real name for those of you who have not been following the NFL. Lil Jordan Humphrey is the 4th string wide receiver on the Saints, and he's actually the guy who has the most rapport with Taysom. But if you think about it logically, Taysom was basically playing with the practice string guys all year because he lost the QB battle to Jameis, and whatever was going on between him and Simeon, why the Saints still wouldn't play him. So he has the best rapport with Humphrey. Humphrey's only $2,000. My thinking is, again, you're trying to play a bunch of cheap pieces, and I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world to have a Troutman captain spot either. Yeah, just be like, and that's if you're playing multiple lineups. Realistically, your captain should be Taysom, Brady, Fournette, or Godwin. Like, those are the 4. I could say Kamara, but like the problem is Taysom vultures a lot from Kamara, and this is not necessarily like you can get away with it with the Jets against Tampa. Not so much. I wouldn't necessarily play that card. So to me, this is just one of those stretches where I kind of look at it as, a game where you have to find your savings somewhere, and there are spots to go. It's just a matter of, they can obviously bust and and you kind of go with what you can get done there. But I wouldn't necessarily discount all the pieces that we've been talking about. So, just my perspective, but I think at the end of the day, you're going to have to find the salary savings because trying to force in, dropping down to, and again, I talk about this all the time. Mike Evans against the Saints is just not a place I want to go there, because the Saints would rather draw a penalty than give up TDs to Mike Evans. It's just one of those things. And Mike Evans wants to go at Marshawn Lattimore all the time. But to me, it's just not a healthy situation, because they're going to be physically battling all night long. Maybe he gets there with a touchdown. He got there last game. He did get the touchdown. But it's just not a spot. And I'll still play Evans. Don't get me wrong. It's just that he's lower on my priority list than Godwin and Fournette. And Gronk. So, he's number 4. And the thing is, when you're trying to save salary in other spots, people are just going to naturally just go down to Evans as opposed to playing Godwin. And I just think that's a mistake. I think your roster construction should prioritize Godwin over Evans. So you're going to have to save salary in different spots. I threw out those names there, and I think that's the way to go. Fournette is likely to play. We haven't gotten confirmation, but it's pretty much a lock. Let's not get cute here with this slate. We know Tampa should win here. So, again, I threw out the Troutman captain. That's in the random scenario where you're trying to have a big play on from the Saints and just getting touchdown. I think it's just a case where you're going to have to try to find different ways of putting up points. And by loading up on different players that are going to get receptions, Troutman's a way to get there. Because I think Troutman gets work tonight and gets a lot of work, to be honest. Because I think they go double tight end just to try to stretch run plays and even RPO plays where they just kind of dump off passes to tight ends as well. So I think he and Vinette get work in. But the thing is, again, it's a salary play. Troutman, $3,200 less. It just makes it a lot easier to make the pieces work. So that's where I'm leaning towards. So good luck tonight, folks. In terms of the spread, we've got still it's 11.5. The spread total over under is 45. So you're not seeing a ton of points either. That's the other reason why I'm looking at the guys who are going to get receptions too, because you're going to need, and that's the reason why I'm a little bit afraid of the Evans play, to be perfectly honest. I know Taysom has the floor. Brady has, he's going to be still chucking the ball, but I want the pass catchers even more so than Brady tonight, given the matchup. So, we're going to see how this game plays out, but I think it should be an interesting contest, at least from a DFS build perspective, not necessarily a betting perspective, because we had the Lions win, but I can't see Tampa dropping this game. I just don't see it. I really don't see it. It's in Tampa. The Saints do not have the benefit of the dome and the speed. I just don't see how they're winning in this matchup against Tampa. I just don't. So, to me, you can still play Taysom in the captain, but I would also think about playing the defense against Taysom. I think the Bucs can turn over Taysom pretty regularly as well in this contest. That is certainly within the realm of possibility. So, we'll see how these contests go tonight. But, I think going with these value plays is the logical choice and the best way to go about your roster construction tonight. So we'll see how the game plays out. And I think the winner is going to have these value plays. I just don't see another way of kind of getting around it to fit in the big boys. So that's all for now, folks. Have a good one and best of luck tonight.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Throwdown Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all other major outlets.